Hey friends, so have you ever noticed in life that when you're faced with a challenge, that sometimes you endure this challenge and yet you still do not get the outcome that you want? Or have you noticed in life when you are faced with challenges that at the end of the rainbow, so to say, you actually do get the result that you want in your life or the thing that you're focused on? I like to call this effect the slingshot effect. And what's really cool about this is that if you know the rules on how to play this game is sort of playing with your mind and playing with the way that you observe life and how life is happening for you and not to you, and how you interact with that life, that game, that little dance that you have to do. If you know the rules on how it works, then every single time you'll hit your outcome, you'll hit your goal, the thing that you want the most, irregardless of the challenges that are out in front of you or that you're facing. And after a number of times, just seeing this and asking questions, what does this mean? What am I learning? What do I need to do in order to get from where I am now to where I want to go? Where do I want to go? Why do I want to go there? What will I get when I get there? You get me? The questions that you ask in and around the outcomes that you're wanting are going to help give you fuel to kind of pump you up so that you can move towards that goal, move towards the life that you want to live, or even this simple outcome of, making an additional 10% more per week in your salary or in your income, or spending more time with those that are important to you, or creating something that you're uber passionate about, whatever your goal might be, to have a great relationship. Whatever that goal would be, you can use the same technique every single time to focus in and hit your target exactly the way that you want to hit it. And I call this effect the slingshot effect. So think of, a slingshot. So you're holding a slingshot and you grab a rock, put a rock in or a little pebble or something, and you start pulling the rubber band back and you're aiming your slingshot. So I wanted you to think about that little bearing or the little rock or whatever it is that's in the slingshot that you're going to shoot. I want you to think about that as being you. And while you're holding steady, you've got your slingshot in your hand, you're aiming it at something. So your slingshot is aiming at something, you're pointing it. And make sure you point it in a very safe direction, right? And that goes with life as well. And now you're being pulled back, and that's your challenge. You see, like as you're being pulled back in the slingshot, you can sometimes stay in challenge mode for quite a while. Sometimes you have little challenges, so you only pull back a little bit, and you can hold that there for a little while, for a long while. Those little challenges you can endure for years and years and years. Who's ever had a little challenge that you endured? Not necessarily thinking that I really want to endure this challenge, but actually just endured this challenge for many, many years. And because it was only small, you're willing to live with it. I see people like that on a daily basis. And it could be something like pain in their body, low back pain, chronic pain, neck pain, whatever it might be, headaches. It's like, it's not too bad. Okay, well, how often do you get that? Oh, I get headaches every day. Okay, well, that's not normal, by the way. Oh, but they're okay. I mean, they're just a little bit, I'm okay to live with it. That's the idea of somebody enduring something with a little bit of pullback, but they're going to endure it for a long time. But as the challenge becomes more and you pull back on that slingshot more, it gets more difficult. The further back, the more challenging the challenge is, it gets more difficult to hold onto it for a long period of time. See, that's the brilliance of it all. The more intense the challenge, the more difficult it is to hold on to it. So how do you not hold on to it? How do you make the transitions faster? So in other words, I've got this slingshot, I'm aiming at a slingshot, I'm being pulled back into a challenge. How do I make those challenges? How do I make those pullback effects last for less time? Well, the rules are very, very simple. It's all about what you're focused on. It's all about who you're becoming. It's all about where you're aiming your slingshot. I'll give you an example. So I'm aiming my slingshot and I'm pointing it in this forward direction. And I'm being pulled back into challenge. And I'm like, shit, I'm being challenged a lot. Oh my God. You know what? This event or this thing that happened, for example, COVID, for example, or a global financial crisis. That's a good idea of like an event creating some problem in our life. Or I recently separated, or I'm having difficulty with one of my kids, or I'm having difficulty with my neighbor, or some stranger did something to me, or my boss fired me, or my business is suffering because of whatever, whatever, whatever. Do you see? There's a pattern. There's a blame to be put somewhere, somehow. It's a person, it's a place, it's a thing, something happened, someone happened, and it's creating a challenge. So then you can go like this. You are aiming your slingshot and you can think to yourself, you know what, if it wasn't for that person, if it wasn't for that thing, if it wasn't for that event, this would never have happened. And your thought constantly is, I can't believe this event happened. I can't believe this thing happened. I can't believe this person happened. And that's what your thought on is, your dominant thought. So let me ask you a question. If your dominant thought is, why did this thing happen? I can't believe this person did this. I can't believe this thing is going on. If your dominant thought is that, where are you aiming your slingshot? You're aiming it at the target, whatever that target looks like. You're aiming it at the target, the thought, the process. You're aiming it at the thing that is occurring that you actually don't want. So you're focused on the shit that you don't want. Why? Why are you focused on that? But what outcome would you get? So if I use the slingshot, this is life. This is life happening for you, not to you, okay? You're in control of where you aim this stupid slingshot, where you're focusing on. And so what you're choosing, or what I might choose, or anyone might choose to focus on, is the shit that is going wrong. Why? Because if you do, what's going to happen? If you continue to pull, if that challenge gets really, really big, eventually what's going to happen? You're going to let go. You're going to let go, and where are you going to hit? You're going to hit directly smack dab in the center of the shit that you don't want. Why? Because you can't get your head out of the clouds about the shit that happened to you, or whatever the victimization or persecution or whatever it might be, that you feel victimized, you feel persecuted, whatever it is. If I'm focused on the event that occurred, and that's like, and I just keep complaining about it, I'm going to let go and hit that event right in the middle, in the center. And guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to get more of the same, because that event ain't changing. That past event is not going on. That past person is not going to shift. Well, sometimes they may. Great. Most of the time, not. Shift until you shift. Okay, so what can you do? Well, if you know that a slingshot's going to get pulled back, and if you know that eventually you have to let go, you eventually know that the challenge is going to let go. What do you need to do? You need to focus on what it is that you do want. What is the outcome that you're looking for? You step into the role of a creator, somebody who's creating their future through their current thoughts. So for example, what is it that I want? Not what I don't have or what went wrong, because that is only going to get you more of the same. But what if I focus on what it is that I really, truly, really, truly want? So I have that slingshot, and I'm going to aim it directly right in the center, right in the center, exactly where I want to go. Boom. That's where my outcome is. That is who I want to be. That is the event. That is what I want to experience. This is what I want in my life, filter into my life, not necessarily what I want to go out of my life. We'll talk about that in a separate podcast. This is about creating and breaking habits, like essentially, rather than focusing on what you don't want, focus on what you do want as it filters into your life. So I'll aim your slingshot, knowing that eventually the challenge has got to release. At some stage, it's going to let go. And when it does, you're going to hit smack dab right in the center of exactly where you want to be. Now, I know it's tough. It's challenging. You will have moments where, if you've ever, what I like to do, one of the fun facts about me, is I enjoy archery quite a lot. When I was younger, I was extraordinarily gifted with the ability to be able to shoot extraordinarily well, to be able to hit bullseyes and do things that other kids my age weren't that great at doing, which was fantastic. So I enjoy archery. Now, if you are an archer in any way, or have ever shot a slingshot, or have ever shot a gun, or anything like that, or have ever aimed at anything, even played darts, you know that while you're holding yourself on the target, you are never really ever always still exactly on the target. There's occasions where you're exactly where you want to go, and something happens in your body and you drift away from your target, but then you come back. That's the whole gift. If you drift, notice that you're away from your target and come back, because drifting is going to happen. This is one of the core elements of what causes us to not be successful, to not get the things that we want in our life. We'll talk about that in a different session, drifting, where you just, instead of going where you want to go, it's like, oh, these are the things I don't want. What am I looking at for? Why am I looking at those? No, come back into the center. Get your slingshot, get yourself aimed exactly to where you want to go, who you want to be, what you want as your outcome, what event you want to transpire, what you want to filter into your life, rather than what you want to leave your life. But you then say, okay, well, what about the stuff that I don't want? What about the stuff that I want to disappear from my life? What if I need to focus on that? I need to get that out. Well, yes, and maybe not. Let's talk about that another time. Because there's a formula for that too. And there's a universal law that governs the shit that you don't want and the shit that you do want. There's a universal law that runs the whole system. All you got to do is know the rules. The slingshot effect. Stay focused in the mode of the creator. What are you creating? Stay focused, come back to the center. Sometimes you have yourself focused on the outcome that you want, and you suddenly change your mind. Suddenly realize, oh, that's not the target actually. The target that I want is actually just a few inches over, or actually I don't want to hit that target anymore. That one's boring. I want to get to the further target. I want to aim at that one. But whatever you choose to aim at, you have to come back to what it is that you want and leave behind you what it is that you don't want. Take your focus away and move it towards. And hang on. Hang on. Use the tools that you know. Listen to things that inspire you. Read things that inspire you. Talk to inspiring people. Don't take financial advice from broke people. Don't take health advice from unhealthy people. Don't take loving, caring, and sharing advice from selfish people. Use your power. Stay focused on your goal. Keep your slingshot on target. And if you drift, come back. Because eventually, the challenge is going to release. And when it does, you will be the one sitting exactly where you want every single time. The slingshot effect. See y'all.